long as you're just elected, that doesn't mean you can steal the vote.
Oh, we can't.
Start with Pledge of Allegiance. It's here.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Yeah, I'll do the pledge anyway. Need a motion to approve the minutes from October 9th regular meeting.
I wasn't here.
Well, then I'll make a
So
motion.
what do we do about that tonight?
It's still okay.
Okay, I'll make a motion that we accept the regular meeting, October 9th minutes.
Guess I'll second. Whoops. You guys are taking more every other month. Need a motion to approve minutes October 25th executive session.
I'll make a motion
That's just the affidavit.
to approve the executive session. That's all he has to sign.
And motion for the October 30th special meeting.
I'll make a motion that we approve the October 30th special meeting. Make a motion that we approve the November docket and the allowance docket.
In the go.
You also have your acknowledgement of receiving the monthly financial statements. And your acknowledgement of seeing the detailed revenue report.
One of those only had one signature on it.
Do you have any questions on any of them?
Nope, I'm good.
Questions?
All right. Let's see. Alliance of Indiana.
Okay, let me go ahead.
Sure.
Okay, well, thanks for having us. Kevin Wenzel is the wastewater circuit rider for this area. I'm Kelly Gardner, the assistant ED with the Alliance of Indiana for water and wastewater. And you guys have been members with us for many years. I couldn't even count. I have to look it all up, but you guys have been members with us for a long time. And Kevin was visiting your utility and talking about the apprenticeship program, trying to get more licensed operators in the state. So we have developed the apprenticeship program. It's registered with the Department of Labor and with Veterans Affairs and with Workforce Development. We are also listed on the ETPL, which is Eligible Training Provider List. It's in the in-training, so there might be some eligible funding that you could qualify for. How it all came about was 5 years ago, Connie Stevens, during one of our conferences and opening session, asked the question, how many of you plan on retiring in the next 5 years? And over half the room raised their hand, so she knew we had a problem. Alliance of Indiana Rural Water is an affiliate of National Rural Water Association, and all 50 states in the U.S. are affiliated with National Rural Water. So not only does Indiana have the same problem, all the other states do too. So it took 3 years to develop the standards of the apprenticeship program, and we got ours approved in November of 2017. Indiana was the very first state, and we signed our first 6 apprentices up shortly thereafter, and as of today's date, we have 14. We have, I think, almost 5 ready to start up January 1st, and my goal is to have like 15 signed up by June of next year. So just because there's such a need, we work with contract operators, which are wonderful. It's just that small rural communities sometimes cannot afford the fees that they charge. But we work with 4 of them currently that have apprentices at their location, and they're working out really great. However, if you would have to pay for their fees per month, having a contract operator at your utility, I'd like to share, I'm not going to tell the utility's name, but I'd like to share with you that sometimes it's, thousands of dollars per month, and it's something that you need to look at, and your budget might not be able to afford that. So looking into this program certainly might save you, and your licensed operator can train the next generation, and then get his license or her license, it doesn't matter, and then you'll have another licensed operator here on staff. I shared with the clerk the apprenticeship standards, and I think we've got it by email, is that correct? And I brought another packet with me, and on the inside there's an employer acceptance agreement, and this agreement states that you need to come up with a hourly wage for the apprentice based on the completion of the program. So the program is 2 years, working underneath the licensed operator for on-the-job training of 4,000 hours, and then a combined 288 hours of classroom training and some online courses over that 2-year period. And then they'll be ready to sit for the IDEM certification to test for the exam to be a licensed operator. After all that, yeah, I know it's a rigorous program, but IDEM requires you to work at a utility for 2 years before you can test. And then that licensed operator has to sign for them to go take the test. So it's good that you're starting to think about this now, because it does take time to get one, and then learning everything that's on the job here at your utility. I don't know if you plan on retiring anytime soon, but it does take, it does take a couple of years to.
Well, I plan on it, but I probably won't.
Yeah, no, you probably won't. You're irreplaceable. Your job is very valuable, and your knowledge is very valuable. You're very important to this industry, and you'd be a great mentor to train the next generation, really.
That's what you can do after retirement, Jerry, you can teach.
You can teach. Yes, you would. You can teach. The apprentice could be someone currently working with you, or someone out of high school, anybody that you choose. They would go through your hiring process to meet your policy or requirements of the job duties, and we don't have anything to do with that. You choose who you want to hire at your utility. They must be at least 18 years of age, have a high school diploma or a GED, pass a background and drug screen, and hold a valid driver's license. Those are the requirements. So those are pretty simple and cut dry.
Okay.
After you get the apprentice hired, they need to go through and sign a few forms that we have for them. We like to post them on social media. We do anti-harassment training. The Department of Labor requires us to do that every year, so we got to do that. Then we'll do orientation. We'll give them a 6-month training plan, tell him all the classes that he needs to attend, the online courses, everything that needs to be done. We'll work with the mentor, which is the operator in charge, telling him the skills that he needs to make sure that he's training them on a daily basis. We provide a USB pen drive, and they document all that. They submit it to us once a month, and then we can have that on record for our audit for the Department of Labor and IFA, Indiana Finance Authority, because we also have an agreement with them. Because if you're eligible for some funding, you could qualify for training up to 2 years at $7,000, or you could also qualify for some wages. Do you know what your median household income is for here at the town of Camden?
47,500.
What is it?
47,500.
47.5? That's 2017?
20, it's the most recent one USDA has.
Okay. It needs to be under 41,000. Let me look it up here real quick. Based on Tier 3 median household income under 41,746, that's one of 3 options to qualify for the IFA Apprenticeship Reimbursement Program. And that was the $7,000 for the training for the 2 years, which it doesn't cost that. And it's also for wages and taxes. The wages for a water apprentice is $74,169 over the 2 years, and for a wastewater apprentice is $90,141. And how they came up with those dollar amounts is they used our 2015 salary survey. So we just did a salary survey this year. However, we didn't have a lot of participants in it. So IFA is going to look at those to see if they might just leave it the same or increase it. We met with them last Monday. We're piloting 2 utilities right now, and the goal is to start with 2 to 4 utilities in January. But I submitted for 5. I already have 5 lined up, so hopefully they will approve all 5 of them, which would be great, because the goal is to help the industry get more licensed operators in the state of Indiana, and so nobody's without an operator and struggling, and they know that rural communities can't afford it.
Now, you said being under the median household was one of your criteria?
Yep, that's the first one. So
and do we have to meet that, or is that
that's
one
just
other
one.
option?
The second option is you, for your water, the drinking water utility applications, the water user rate must be greater than $45 per month, and the wastewater must be greater than $65 per month. And this is all based on 4,000 gallons.
We don't know.
You don't need that? Okay, and the third option is the average annual residential, not including commercial, user rate based on 4,000 gallons again, must exceed 1% of the community's median household income.
I'm going to guess.
What's your total rate? 40, yeah.
Well, for 3,000 gallons, it's probably around 50 something. If you take off all the others and just get down to water and wastewater.
235 percent.
We are in the low to moderate income category, though. We're 53.3% there.
I have median household income for Camden for this year at $50,714.
I made, like I say, I was the last USDA, I was 27, so
Okay.
obviously we're not.
Yep, so it's still a lot higher than even the 1% over the 41,000.
So if we think that's too high, knowing, how did they come up with this? Is that off census?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but when we do our income survey, we meet that requirement.
Do you have an income survey that has a dollar amount that's lower than that?
I have to look.
Because if you could, we could always challenge it and provide, because it's usually like a booklet.
Mm-hmm.
I could probably challenge it, especially if it's lower than the 41,000.
I don't know, I'll take a look at the income survey and see what it says.
Well, fair.
Okay.
$50 a month times 12,600. That's more than 1% of. So it has to be less than 1%. Is what you're saying?
It says the average annual residential user rate based on 4,000 gallons must exceed 1% of the community's median household income.
It does. I think it does.
It does?
Yeah. You got $50 a month times 12. The 600 divided by, 50,000 plus 1% of 50,000. 500. So you're $600 on your rate. So I think you meet that one.
Well, we
Okay,
need
so
to look at that.
we need to firm up those numbers. Okay.
Yeah, because if you do qualify, I mean, that would essentially pay for an apprentice for 2 years, pay for all their training and their wages.
And we're looking at 4,000 gallons, right?
Yes, it's based on 4,000 gallons.
One number's based on 3.
Yeah, mine was based on 3.
Yeah, but this is actually based on 4, so it might help you.
Yeah. Maybe they need
Yeah.
to get that.
I'll take a look at that. And I'll
Yeah,
get back.
definitely look at that.
Do you all have an interest in the apprentice?
Oh, yeah, heck yeah, I mean, if we could get,
Now, our rate, he's going to start off right now at 11. So do we have to adjust that to meet your qualifications?
Well, you might want to adjust that because I'm not sure that you would find a good candidate. You want to find a good candidate that's going to stay here, longevity, It's a 2-year program. You want to get them through it. You want them to live here in your community. But I'm just telling you from my experience from other utilities. I take care of the whole state of Indiana, and I just think the wages are kind of low.
Well, he's on that for 90 days, which is probation.
Okay.
And then he goes up to $11.50, but at the beginning of the 2020, I think it's 11 something. I know it's a little bit more. There's a 2% increase.
11.72.
Okay.
Okay, what would be, so let's say the apprentice does the program, and they fulfill the 4,000 hours of OJT, and the 288 hours of classroom training, and they pass their item certification. What's the wage going to be? Because that is what we report to the DOL, and the program is Earn While You Learn. So as long as the apprentice every 6 months, based on 1,000 hours, is on track, they will get a wage increase.
Okay. With the way our salary ordinance is set up right now, every time he gets a certification, he gets a 2% increase. So we'd have to do a little math to figure that out. But do you think it would still be too low? You know, what is the beginning for apprentice around the state? What would an average be?
I've seen it at $19.95. I've seen it at 20. Seen it at 16. Seen it at 15.
Okay, a little bit higher.
Yep. I'm being honest with you.
Well, that's
I mean, these jobs are very important. They're for the health and safety of your community. Water is very important to everybody, and lives are at stake. So, I mean, it's you know, under IDEM's regulations too. I mean, there's rules and regulations that they have to follow.
Penalties if they don't?
Huh?
Penalties if they don't?
Penalties if they don't. Yeah. More mandates. Right, Jerry? More mandates. I mean, I can give you a little background. We're working with other utilities that have, like I said, contract operators, and I do know what they make monthly. The one makes $10,000 a month. The other one makes $10,900 a month. Third utility makes $11,000 a month. These contract operators, I mean, they're not doing Jerry's job every day. They're coming in and signing the books and leaving.
How big are these communities? How big are the communities they're working in?
I wouldn't say very big.
One community's like, what, 2,000 people?
Another one's like not even 800.
Yeah.
You just can't keep people. And I'd just like to verbally let people know what's going on in Indiana, and it's not just in Indiana, it's all 50 states. Every year when we go to Water Pro, we just had Water Pro at Nashville, Tennessee, and we all communicate and talk amongst ourselves, and I mean, we have legislators there, and it's in every state. I mean, it's a real problem.
You guys got this information in an email. It had 5 attachments.
It's too big, I couldn't
You
open
couldn't
it.
open it? Okay. Do you have a packet? Yeah. Okay. Did you get yours? You don't get one?
No.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
Okay. Is this something you want to think about for a little bit? How quickly do they have to act? Is there a time frame?
Well, I will tell you this. We posted on social media yesterday because this week is National Apprenticeship Week. And we posted on there about the partnering with IFA funding and all this money. And so, yeah, the phone's been ringing off the hook.
Okay.
I do know that I've submitted for 5 in January, and I have 5 that have already signed and committed. I'm actually going to a utility. They've already texted me tonight. I'm going to a utility tomorrow morning at 9 o'clock because they actually want to sign and get in. I'm hoping to do at least 10 to 15 by June, like I said. I don't know if this is a one-time thing and it's done. They've never said.
What commitment is the town making if they take part in this? Are we committing that we're going to have this employee for a certain number of years? Is it any kind of,
No.
is the town putting themselves in any kind of constraints?
No.
Because you can go anywhere.
It's a huge opportunity that I would have never imagined ever that it would be possible.
Chalmers is doing it.
Yeah, Chalmers is doing it.
Has anybody found any drawbacks that we should be aware of?
No. We have the 2 pilot utilities that are doing right now, and they're getting their money seamless. Yeah, we provide all the documents for them. We tell them how to fill it out. They submit it to us. We submit it to IFA. IFA sends us the check because we're the sponsor of the program. and then we submit the checks back to them within 7 days.
We need to look into it for sure.
And if you don't qualify for the IFA funding, reach out to your local Work One, because there is funding out there. Also get on to next level jobs and fill out the forms for the employer, because you could get on the job training. There's a grant for $5,000 per apprentice, max employee or employer at what, $50,000. We're researching all kinds of stuff. We meet with legislators, we go to DC. We're always trying to find money, even with EPA, to help out rural America. Rural America feeds the larger cities, so we gotta do something.
Okay.
Do we need to get back with you by a certain time? Or just as soon as that?
Just the sooner the better. Because whenever you guys sign and commit, all I'm gonna do is, where you fill out the form where it shows the journeyman's rate, I'm actually gonna enter you into the DOL, it's called a Rapids database, for your system here, for the utility. And then I'm also gonna secure you on a line slot. You'd be like number 7 or 8. I'd have to go back and look at my paperwork. So I'm just doing first come, first served. Whoever fills the paperwork out, like tomorrow, they're doing an executive session. And that's why I'm going there at 9 o'clock in the morning, because I was just there the other night. And so they thought about it, and they're making an executive session meeting for tomorrow morning, and they're going to sign the paperwork, because they want to make sure they get in on it.
Make sure we make the criteria and then let's
Run the numbers on
run
4,000
the numbers
gallons.
and see if we make it. If we make it,
Yeah,
then
Okay, but we still have the option of Work One and next level jobs. We don't get it one way or the next.
And every county, there's 12 regions in Indiana, and every county is different for the work ones. Funding is all over. I found that Region 1 and Region 11 in Indiana do not have any funding at all.
And what region is Carroll County?
Region 1 is the far northwest corner,
Wayne County.
and Region 11 is all the way down by Evansville, this corner down here. There's no funding available in either of those counties.
How's Carroll County's funding, what would you know?
I'm not sure. It varies, and it varies, it seems almost like every few weeks, depending on what monies go out even, and when their fiscal year starts.
What kind of tracking is required?
We do all the tracking. It's monthly, OJT. The apprentice submits their weekly stuff to the mentor, which is the licensed operator, and then he fills everything out on an Excel spreadsheet, saves it, and emails it to us every month. And then we do 6-month assessments. We come on site, do 6-month assessments to make sure that the apprentice is actually learning what they're supposed to be learning. Because when you take the IDEM certification, it's not just about this plant. You have to be well-rounded to know about all scenarios.
Do you give any kind of pre-test?
Yes, we do. We do exam review. It's a 6 or 7 week long course. Depends if it's water or wastewater. Water is 7 weeks. Wastewater is 6 weeks currently.
Is there any questions?
Okay.
Good.
Question?
Good. See if we qualify.
We need to
and Let's
figure out the qualifying.
let's keep going.
We can do something.
I hate to make you feel rushed or
Oh, no,
complicated or anything like that. It's just a
I mean,
very popular
I'd hate
program.
to sign it and say,
Yeah,
well,
I know.
we got,
I know you
we
didn't
don't meet the
qualify.
criteria. so
Right.
that's stupid.
Also, even if you don't meet any criteria, you could get an apprentice in here. You're just going to have to pay their wages for 2 years. The cost of all the classes is around $6,400, just so you know, for
Okay.
the 2-year period. Someone without any prior experience. Now, if you hire someone that's a college graduate, I don't know if you will or not, but if you're lucky, I had a candidate that I had paired up with Lebanon Utilities, and he is excelling. He wanted to do the apprenticeship program really badly, and so they took him on board, and he's excelling like crazy. So,
Okay.
but sometimes we do get candidates that are interested. So if you would like to look at some of the ones that I have, I can pass them on to you, and you will do your interview process, have them fill out an application. If you don't like them, throw it away.
Well, we just have somebody that's just come on board.
Okay.
So we would be wanting to work with that person.
That's fine. You can do that. Yep.
Okay.
And if you have any questions, you got my number and you got my email. So,
And Jerry, do you have any questions?
you have any questions at all?
We're good.
No? Good. Okay,
I'll be in touch.
okay, thanks for having us.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Thank you. Have a good one. Thank you.
Thanks.
Very simple. Would you like to hear one? No, I'm really, okay, this is their decision. I could read one here. Mark isn't here tonight. I usually always give you one to say something. I didn't know if you want to learn how.
You get all the good stuff.
Alright.
You get all the good
So I'll
stuff.
have an extra one here for someone that moves around. Okay, Pat asked me to come this evening because the annual renewal is up for the medical insurance, and vision is attached to that. The life and accidental death and dismemberment, along with the dental plan. And it is with Anthem, and it renews January 1st of 2020. The current plan, as you see on the front page there, is represented at the top columns there, and that's your current rate and the current coverages. You can see there as you go across, you have the deductible at $3,300 currently on the plan, and then the out-of-pocket maximum $5,500. When the renewal comes in January 1, due to the ACA rules and regulations, and I can't tell you how they're calculated, in Anthem or United Healthcare can tell you either. It's kind of like workman's comp, trying to figure out workman's comp and the modification factors. It's all actuarial, and they base it off of a silver plan, and that's the reason there's changes as far as the out-of-pocket each year. And the plan will renew with the bottom where it says proposed 1, and the rate increase is going to be 3.22. No one likes to see a rate increase. The average increase of all small groups with us under 10 employee lives is running 8.8%, and we're seeing rates all the way up to 16%. And I have a very, very small number of my groups under 5 that are getting the lowest increases in the state, and yours is one of them, 3.22. So I was very happy with that, and because of the Affordable Care Act, we don't have any strength in going back and asking for no increase or 2% or anything. It is what it is, the way the laws are now. But I was very happy to see a 3.22 and not an 8%, or what the norm has been, or is for this coming year, for 2020. With that 3.22, in order to fit the actuarial criteria, the out-of-pocket will change from that top one up there you see for the $3,300 deductible for a single. Down to the bottom, then you'll see a $3,800, so it'll go to $3,800. And then if you move just to the right at the top where you see it says $5,500, what that means is that once a single hits $3,300 deductible, everything going into the pot, so to speak, that's your prescription drugs, your doctor, your hospital, lab work, anything and everything, with the exception of preventive. Preventive is paid at 100%. As long as it's in network, it's paid at 100%. So they go in for a wellness checkup or something, or their CDL physical, and they code it as a wellness, that's paid at 100%. So it doesn't apply, doesn't count toward that. So that $3,300 deductible, once that's met, the difference between the $5,500 just to the right of that and the $3,300, that only has to be met, that remaining amount only has to be met on your current plan if there's prescription drugs. The prescriptions initially go in to hit that deductible, but once that deductible is met, then any further prescriptions are under the copays that you see on the far right column. And if you don't have any prescriptions, then that remaining difference between the 33 and the 55 doesn't have to be met in that calendar year. So they go back to the hospital, go to the doctor, it's 100%. As long as it's in network, it's 100%. There is no 80-20 to this plan, the way the current plan is. Now, moving into 2020, because the actuarial, with the plan just below that, that's what you're switching to because, and you don't have any choice in the matter on that because it renews at that. The change to that is the deductible goes up to $3,800. and then you have a 5,800 just like you do in the upper one. And the difference then between that will have to be met in a 80-20. That part's new. In those areas, office visits, inpatient hospital, emergency, urgent care.
The difference between the 38 and 58 is 80-20.
Mm-hmm. In the plan that it's switching to because of
Yeah,
the
that's what we're
short.
talking about.
And then the prescriptions then, they would still be co-pays, and they would still come off that difference between the 58 and 38. So what you're seeing there then is the 38 to 58, the difference right in there then. In order to hit that difference, they would pay 20% of the office visit, inpatient, or ER, and the prescriptions then would contribute toward meeting that difference in there. But that 20% has kind of been entered into that factor this year for the 2020 in order to hit that difference between the 58 and the 38. If they don't have anything after deductible, and obviously they don't have to meet that difference. And then once they hit that 20%, then obviously the prescriptions would be, if they hit the 20%, they would have had to hit the prescriptions as well, so it'd still be 100%, because the maximum out of pocket is 58, just like it would be above 55. So once they hit that maximum for the calendar year, then that 55 or 58 would come into play, everything would be met. And the preventive, again, is still covered at 100%. Now, Pat asked me to show another option so that maybe they wouldn't have to deal with that 20%. And if you look at the second page there, and that would be the one I kind of highlighted to the left, which would be option 1, and that one reflects a 2.7% increase in lieu of the 3.22. And the difference there is your deductible is $4,500 compared to what their new one will go to, 38, and then the max out of pocket for that single would be 55 as opposed to 58. The nice thing about this option is two things. Number one, it's a little lower increase, 2.74, but then it takes them back to the zero. There's no 80-20. So the difference between that 45 and 55, that $1,000, would only be met in prescription drugs only. So they wouldn't have to worry about an 80-20 in the calculation or anything like that. So that's very close to what they have now, with a little lower increase as far as that goes. But I wanted to keep it simple. I wanted to show you another option to kind of keep their out-of-pocket low, keep the confusion down, and obviously keep the rates down for you too. Now, the vision stayed the same, no rate increase. The dental, I've been working on with Pat for a while and was able to get things approved for that. And the dental will help offset any increase that you do receive on the medical. And the dental is on the back portion. If you take that paper clip off, I think I made one for myself also here. Pat has been receiving, for whatever reason, there's been, I think, three bills, Pat? There's been 3 bills. She gets a billing each month for the medical and the vision, which are tied together. And she gets a billing for the life and accidental death and dismemberment, which is one bill. And then she gets another one for the dental. And I've been working trying to get that changed for her. Well, they've come up with a new dental plan. And it's an enhanced dental. There's a lot more coverages to it. They don't really use the other dental plan that you're on anymore. Those that have it, it's grandfathered in. So I talked him into taking a look and approving you for the newer plan, and I was able to get the rates down about 20% over what you're paying now. If you look at the back page of that one there, you'll see the current rates you're paying for the group, which I think is $137.18 or something. You'll see that right there. Mm-hmm. And your new rates are going to be around $107.17 on that front page. You'll see there. So it's roughly a 20% decrease. So enhanced coverages, about a 20% decrease, which is beneficial not only to the town, but also to the employees with better benefits. So with reduced rates there, and then whatever your decision would be on the other, either a 3.22 or a 2.74, to try to keep your plan as close, depending on the 80/20 or a little bit higher out of pocket on the deductible. And then lastly is I was able to get that done so that whoever takes Pat's position and then Pat finishing out the term, hopefully we'll get it accomplished by that time. We're going to one bill. So you won't have to mess with the 3 bills anymore. And 3 different checks, which will help. So it cuts a little complication. There. So
Well, that's good. Complication is good.
now, if you do decide that the dental that we've gotten approved, you don't have to do anything on that. I've already got that approved. That's going to go into effect, so that's good. And there should be a 2-year rate guarantee on that anyway. And as far as the medical, if you would like to make a change, like if you don't want to make any changes, you want to leave everything the same, like it is on the renewing, then you don't have to do anything. Just kind of let me know that that's what you're going to do.
If you don't make a change, you go down to this plan down here at the bottom.
Automatic. And if you do decide that you do want to change to that 2.74,
Right.
Pat asked me to bring this along, and it would just require, I think it's the first one right here, highlighted right here with that 2.74, and all it would require is to check the box as far as a change, and then complete this like you've done in the past when we change plans, when we've offered those. And then if you would like, you could either email it to the email below and then copy me in. I think in the past what you've done is just give it to me and you made a copy and I'll do it for you and take care of it. I'd like to have an answer on that if I could, and I don't mean to rush you, but at the end of the year, everyone looks at a calendar year deductible and they have thousands of people with this, and I always try to get mine in to get my employers taken care of. So if I could have this by Friday, I'll get it in, and I'll be able to have cards in people's hands in plenty of time, and then they can shred their old ones, and then they'll have their new card they can put in effect, and just make sure that anytime they go to a new doctor, or a same doctor as far as that matter, but for a new visit, if they make the change in January, that they make sure that they show their cards to their new providers as well as the pharmacy. Because if they don't, they'll get something back from the pharmacist or the doctor saying you don't have any coverage because they're using the old card on file. And if Pat gets hold of me, then I'll make a trip up and take care of that. You have any other questions?
Good.
Okay.
Thanks.
All right, you're
Thank
welcome.
you, Chief. Appreciate
If I have your permission to leave, I don't mean to run, but I have another Medicare appointment tonight.
Hey, seats up front are open up, guys.
Yes, thank you very much.
I'll be back up here.
Ken, stranger?
So, I wanted to talk to you about, you guys did an income survey, Nanette Van der Voorden, I think, and Amy Miller did it for you, and you're qualified now for Community Focus Fund grant. Well, they're called Community Development Block Grants. So you're good for grants. Same one you've used for 25 years to, I think, get maybe probably about $4 million in funding. Take a look at doing a water utility study. You haven't done anything in your water system since about 2008 when we got the grant for the water line replacements. And you don't, what I'm asking for, I guess, is start the process of looking into it. It wouldn't actually make a decision to go after the grant tonight, but it would allow the town to hold a meeting with your representative from Office of Community and Rural Affairs. Jerry White would come up, sit down, and tell you about the program. If you decided to go, you can make a decision in December. The match would be $3,800, and you can get the grant for $35,000. So you'd only have to pay about 10% of the total cost on that. And that would take a look at things like your water supply, your water distribution, your water storage, and your water treatment. And we can go through and turn each valve. I don't think in the entire history of Camden we went through and turned each valve in the water system. We rate them, check them.
Wait a minute.
Yeah.
Yeah, I have.
We go through and inventory each valve. We go through and inventory each hydrant. And go through and check each fire hydrant that didn't have an isolation valve. Do a complete assessment. Take a look at each and every. We could do fire flow testing, which would tell how much each of your hydrants could flow in an emergency. Take a look at each one of the water meters If there's money out there to pay for 100% of lead goosenecks replacements. You can take a look at an inventory of those if you want to replace those lead goosenecks, which is a health hazard. We take a look at water supply. I know you've done some water testing on your existing wells, but if you got into the agreement where this well out here just to the east of town, it would pay for the inspection of that if you wanted to take a look at purchasing that as an additional source of water. I know a lot of communities' wells are going dry. Chalmers went dry. One of the wells went dry. Greentown went dry. So another source of water. I don't know if it's global warming or what, but we're hearing more and more people's communities' wells are going dry. So basically, it would take a look at your storage, your distribution, or your treatment system and your tower as well. So I'd recommend the town make a motion to investigate going after a planning study, and you can decide in December if it's something you wanted to do. The money's there right now. Each year they get less and less, so I don't know, 2-3 years they may not have any money to do this stuff. So, and the state in July passed another funding source. You may have seen that, where your median household income is good enough to go after two different grants. So if you did do a project in the future, you may get 95 to 100% funding on it, but you don't have to. The study just kind of takes a look at what's going on with your existing system and if there's anything that immediate. I know one of the things a lot of communities are going to is touch read or radio read meters, where they would replace all the meters at once. What we usually do is get a 20% capacity over that, so if something happens, you can have a spare already on board, and they let you do that. So in the future, you may have a bunch of meters go bad at the same time. We've never seen that, but if you get a 20% over capacity, then you got them on the shelf to replace them right away. That's certainly allowed, and that would save a lot of time and effort on Jerry. He's probably not too fond of getting down on the ground and cold read meters anymore. But
No, I'm not. I can't really get up and down the way it is.
But that's all I wanted to recommend. If you guys would just make a motion to investigate it, we could have a meeting with Jerry White and see what it takes. You wouldn't make a decision to actually do it until December.
Yeah.
You need me to I'll make a motion that we have Ken set the ball in motion for the water grant.
I'll second.
And if I'm supposed to do anything else I didn't do, just hit me in the head, tell me what it is.
We'll do our TP. We'll do our.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ken.
But Ken, do you need anything from us, or are you going to contact Jerry White about it?
You were using Vicki Powers as your grant administrator. I'd recommend you go to Amy Miller, who you used before. You used her for good and all, except for a couple of grants, you used hers for 25 years. I would recommend maybe we contact her and again, wouldn't be out anything until you actually decided to go. Have her contact them and come up and have a meeting with them.
Okay, so contact Amy.
If the council chooses to, I would recommend that.
Amy, we work with Amy.
I'll make a motion to go with Amy.
Second.
Okay.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
I'm just so happy today. I said we didn't have anything on the books. We would have coasted.
Yeah.
As in 2 months ago, coasted. Felt good. Thanks, Ken. Appreciate that.
Thank you.
I gave Town of Yeoman your name too. They had some questions about. I don't know if he contacted you today.
No, but I can help them out. We've helped them out in the past, and we helped them.
A new guy came in. I gave him your number.
Yeah, we designed their community center as a courtesy, so yeah.
He was unaware of your name, and I said, I know he knows you.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, thanks, Ken. It's good to see you.
Thank you. It's good to see you too. I'm sorry I'm always late.
All right, Jerry, you're up. What you got?
Okay, Peerless showed up the other day to finally start back on the other well. They did find a sediment in the bottom of it. They're supposed to be back Friday to work on it again. And that's all I can report on as far as the water. Road salt should be here tomorrow. They're supposed to deliver it between 8 and 10 in the morning, so it should be here tomorrow for the road salt. And that's all I've got right now.
Snowplow.
Snowplow, we've got it. Picked it up today. I'm guessing that we've got a little issue that's minor, like it maybe has some air in a line or something. I think we'll probably just have to add some more fluid to it and get it to work out. We'll call them tomorrow morning and see what's going on.
We need to make a motion to pay that bill.
the total bill was $8,231.
We'll make a motion for this, but we won't pay it till you say it's right.
Okay, yeah, I'm sure it'll be.
Right, but I'm just saying, we'll make the
Just act
motion
like
now,
it's-
and
yeah.
then when you say it's right and good, then she can write the check.
Yeah, well, I'm gonna take a look at it tomorrow, and I'll probably call them tomorrow, but it's,
I'll make a motion, we pay North Central Outdoor Power $82.31. And how about the salt, Jerry, do we need a motion to pay that?
Yeah, if you want to pay it for the next meeting.
Okay, I'll make a motion that we pay, Jerry got some bag salt for the, $351.33.
I'll second the motion pending approval of the snowplow.
Power.
Check.
Yeah.
You have a new employee?
We have a new employee.
How's your new employee?
Yep, Cody
seems
Walker.
like he might be all right, we'll find out, yeah, except he might be interested. He was taking notes today, so
Okay,
that's a bonus.
good, good, good.
Good.
Time will tell. He's,
Never know.
acts like he's,
You
like
ain't
he talked
broken
to him
yet.
about maybe, you know, getting him set up for schooling and stuff, which, you know, it takes a little while to do all that, so.
Yeah, yeah.
You know,
And
maybe
like-
on something else.
Yeah, and like, you know, that schooling sounds great and everything, but it'd be kind of overwhelming if you come to the job on Tuesday and they got you in school on Thursday.
Oh, yeah, yeah,
So,
yeah.
Dive in the deep end.
I'm sure there's going to be questions on leaves.
Is there?
The snow will be off.
Are you asking me or are you telling me?
No, I'm
Is
sure
there
people are
questions?
going to be calling in.
Yeah,
So
we'll be
we have
picking
to-
up more leaves. We just gotta play it by, just like
Oh,
everyone. We
yeah.
gotta play it by
yeah.
ear, see what the weather's like. I think what I'll do, I've been picking them up using the pickup truck. I'm gonna go ahead and get the salt box ready, put it on the big truck, and we'll just go ahead and use the small truck to pull it. It's a little rougher on the small truck, but that way if we do get in the bind, we've got the salt box ready instead of having to switch over real quick in a big hurry. So that's what I'm actually planning on doing as far as that goes.
That's supposed to be in the 50s next week.
Yeah, and you know, I talked to him about working maybe on the weekend if it gets nice and we want to pick up through the week or something, you know, or on the weekend. He didn't have a problem doing that. Just depends on what's, you know.
Okay, nothing else.
Sure.
I think that's it now.
All right, Random Marshall Police Report had 17 calls of service, 6 assisting other agencies, 4 traffic stops, 1 gun permit, and 3 ordinance violation notices. She's also asked about getting the windows tinted on the police car, not limo tint, a little darker with.
She got a price or anything?
Couple hundred.
I'll make a motion that we let her tint the windows on the police car.
Second.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am. You're up.
First, I want to congratulate Jeff on winning the election, and he'll be the next treasurer.
Congratulations, Jeff.
And Jeff, did you have anything you wanted to say tonight?
Well, other than I've been in the office once, my mind's already blown. But I do plan to, I'm actually leaving my job sooner than I had expected to. I'm going to be in the office over here working with Pat from December 8th on. So I'm not totally dumb when it comes to January 1, but she's very good at explaining stuff. And I said, even though there is trainings, I want to know what she knows, what she can train me, so I'm not going to trainings totally blind. I had spoken with Lynette as far as staying as deputy clerk. Lynette's actually ready to retire herself, and told me as soon as I found somebody she would like to retire. So Lynette is going to stay through January and train the new person, and then I have appointed Camilla Downing as my deputy clerk effective February 1st.
Okay.
Pat, did I hear a sigh of relief?
No,
Not
no. I have been very fortunate in that I have enjoyed my job, and it's
Yeah. Don't expect me to fill her shoes.
but it's not. You know, I'm not chomping at the bit to get out, but it's time. So no, I'm good.
I'll second that. You're good.
No, not like that, no. No, that's kind of
I
conceited.
got plenty more you to do on the library board, so just hang on. We'll
Sorry,
find something
that
for
came
you.
out wrong, I didn't mean that.
Well, I meant that. You're doing a good job.
Okay. The next thing I have is Steve Pearson gave me a bill tonight, $50 for 2 mowings. If he wants this paid before the November, or the December meeting, I need a motion.
I'll make a motion to pay Steve.
I'll second it.
These shouldn't come quite this late in the day,
Yes.
just as a matter of conversation. Next thing I have Steve Pearson again. He's been helped Jerry on leaves. I don't have a contract. I need something for me to be able to pay him. He hasn't turned in hours. I don't have anything, but I know he's worked, and I need something.
Do we have an extra help?
That's
ordinance?
through payroll.
Okay, so that you.
And I don't think you want to put him through payroll. I
Okay,
think
you
you're going to want
wanna
to
do
use
this
him as
as
a
a contract?
contractor.
Okay.
Yeah. So do you want him to work here for contract?
I will, if you want me to, I can contact him tomorrow morning and see what he can do.
Would it be okay if he sends a bill like he did for mowing for the hours he worked, would that suffice for a contract? I mean,
No, I need something to say, this is what he's gonna do.
I don't
And
think
this is what
he's not gonna help anymore.
Yeah, but he already has.
Right, so can he not submit like he did for the mowing contract? His mowing contract, we accept a bill from him for that.
But we have a
Still-
contract for mowing.
So now we need one for leaf removal.
Unless you're just saying, just have him bill me and pretend he's mowing when he's picking up leaves. Is
Yeah, I
that what
mean,
you're
that'd be
doing?
the thing.
Well, that's what
That would be the easiest thing to do.
How would that
Better talk to Ann about that.
Yeah. No, it can be real simple. I mean, what we have is real simple. I just need something real simple that says, he's picking up leaves for the town. We already have his insurance. We already have everything. I just need something.
I
Mowing,
believe
what is mowing leave?
he worked 4 hours is what he did.
Yeah, it's not a whole lot, but if I'm gonna pay him, I gotta
Right,
have something.
so he mowed leaves for 4 hours. Is that what you're saying?
I don't
So a
know.
lot of people chop them up with the mowers, I'm
I don't
just
know,
saying.
but I need something.
Okay, we'll have him get something saying if he,
Okay, so are you gonna ask Ann to write up a contract?
I think we can make it pretty simple. Okay, like we can.
Just have.
You wanna reach out to me?
Yeah, I'll reach out.
I'll be on the train tomorrow, so
I'll
I'm
take
tired,
care
so
of
you.
it. I'll get something.
We'll make it simple, make it work, as long as that's gonna keep everything fine.
Yeah,
Let's just get it done.
okay. I don't care how you do it, I just need something that tells me what I have to do, and it's gotta be done.
Okay.
I got the next one taken care of.
All right, next thing,
Okay.
office will be
You're
closed.
gonna do that?
No, I mean, the town cleans the sidewalk. I got somebody to do it.
Office will be closed November 28th for Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
Sweet. Are you gonna be closed the 29th too?
No.
No? Look at you. All right. Any interest in
Where did you
building,
jump to?
in the building standard ordinance?
Yes, I sent that out, and Ann sent you a memo. So have you had a chance to review that?
Yeah, I think that's something we need to do. That would help with like the,
You've got 2
property,
properties.
yeah.
Okay.
That's,
So you want me to want me to start on something
yes,
like that?
please.
Okay, all right,
I think we need to. I don't,
all right.
Andy, don't you?
Yes.
Yes, I'm with you.
Okay. I got that again about the contract for Steve. What
That's
do you think
twice.
about that? or
Really?
wasn't I?
You want
Well,
to
no,
get something done.
Okay. 2020 census, they have been to the office already. They dropped off a form. They want to know what the town would be willing to do, and some of it's pretty fundamental. But there is a space about providing testing space and training space. Would you be willing to let them use the community building without cost to use it for testing and training if they need it? There's no guarantee they will need it, it's just.
Right, you know, that's fine.
Okay, well, I didn't want to say yes.
No, I
not.
appreciate, that's not fun.
Okay. Okay, I got that off. The Christmas tree will be here the morning of the 21st. We're gonna need some help setting that up. It's gonna be a big tree. Yes.
Make sure I'm going this year.
No, be here, we could really use it.
November 24th.
Okay, we need to set a date for a year-end meeting, December sometime, latter part. We know we've got a regular meeting, but I need a year-end meeting.
Will that be your last official meeting?
Yes.
Regular
It'll be
meeting,
real short, all we have to
The
do is approve
11th.
the docket. 5 minutes. Yeah.
30th, that's a Monday,
And the 31st is the last, yeah, we can do it Monday the 30th.
Monday the 30th. In the morning,
And you pick a time,
Fine. 9 o'clock.
9 o'clock. Okay, we'll get notices posted. Okay. And that, I was gonna get you information on your 1782 notice, I didn't get that done. But I will get you some, the 1782 notices will probably be coming out, before the end of the year is what it looks like. Okay.
Full business. Only nothing. Your Med Center, we're working on that. Do we need to come up with something on that for the old business? Do we,
Which one?
in Med Center, the flooring?
I'll make a motion that we go up to $8,000, is that what we said?
Not exceeding.
Yeah, not exceed $8,000 on the carpet, and if we pick and choose and do what we wanna do, and see what the hospital's gonna help with,
I think we said 8,600.
8,600, okay.
No, I'll second that. We make a motion to start with that and not exceed it. Contact the LMS and see what they're willing to own it up.
Okay.
Painting, it's cold. Anybody, EDC, anybody heard anything, anybody interested in that?
I have not heard anything on the contract, haven't heard anything on dues. I don't know.
I seen something in the paper where they were praising them.
We need an appointment. Marty, you wanna be on the EDC board?
I think I'm all right.
Sure.
It's a headache you need
How many times a month?
once.
What is it, 7:30 in the morning?
Know what you're jumping into.
It's early in the morning. I'm not got back. He has not called me back, Steve. Time mower.
Me and Jerry talked, we're gonna do springtime. There ain't
Yep,
no sense
that's fine.
right now.
I will contact the painter about the floor, I'm sure look at that. Alright, Marty, you're up, utility adjustment.
Yes, I was wanting to see about the period of time between when the bills arrive for us as far as paying the water bill and when they're due. It leaves us basically 8 to 6 business days to actually get the payment turned around. My difficulty with it is I use all online banking. So I know historically people write out a check, drop it off in the slot box. You know, finding a check in my house is extremely difficult. We just don't use them. The problem with that is, though, that the town mails the bill, goes to Kokomo, comes back to the box. We go down and pick it up, and then log on. Of course, the bank's got to print the check and mail it, and so on and so forth. So, with the number of business days between when the bill's sent and when it's due, it's just really not feasible. The way I've got around it is I just have the bank say, give them $100. I don't know what the bill's going to be because I don't have it yet. Just send them $100 and it should take care of it. I was going to see if there's any way we could either adjust the due date or get it out before the 31st. Either way, as long as, you know, the residents have more time, the level of service, we can't log on and check and see what our bill is going to be on the 19th when the period's over. You know, there's no electronic statements or anything like that. So with the customer service that we're offered and how we can check our bill availably versus what's due and when it's due, it just doesn't quite line up in my opinion.
Is it something you can call in and see what it's gonna be?
Yeah, we have customers that do that.
When is the bill made available? When do you know what the next month's bill is gonna be? Is it the 20th, 21st?
No, it's closer to the end of the month.
So like
We know for sure.
28th, 29th?
Oh, yeah,
Because there's got to be time to compile it, I'm sure.
it does, but by the bill